Hi everyone, I am Jordan, owner of Bodywork Energetics. I am a massage therapist specializing in chronic pain relief, and I have a line of small batch made magnesium body care products as well. So what does self-care mean to me? I find, especially as a practitioner, that self-care is hard to make time for in our life. Self-care means to me taking time, even if it's just a couple minutes in our day and our week, to set an intention for ourselves, what we need, and how to kind of pour into ourselves so that we can run at our optimal healthy levels. With a busy work schedule, being a mom, it's not always easy to find time for self-care. So for me, something I try to do to prioritize myself is I walk. I try to get outside, maybe not so much in this weather, which is something I should practice more self-care. But I try to get outside, and even if it's just a couple minutes a day, get into the sunshine, feel the weather on my skin, and just get a little bit of walking in. I find that really sets the intention for the day ahead. It makes me kind of feel grounded, levels my mood, and just helps me feel better overall. And the last question was, what have I watched lately? And I'm going to be super honest with you, but also a little embarrassed about this. I've gotten into this terrible reality TV show called Married at First Sight, and it's so bad that it's good. So that's what I've been watching lately. Every time I get a free relaxation minute or evening, I guess, I just put it on, and then maybe I get some computer work done while I'm watching it, or I try to walk on my treadmill at home and just kind of zone out a little bit. So super terrible Cathy show, but also really entertaining, and I can't stop watching it.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Easter Shore Talk, your podcast for all things self-care and movies. If this is your first time tuning in, we're glad to have you. We are on episode 46. My name is Jay Watson.
And I'm Cathy Castle.
And Cathy and I are going to talk a little bit tonight about that funny little thing we call the comfort zone. And is it really the comfort zone? Is it not? Cathy and I might have a little bit of a disagreement this time, so that'd be kind of cool. We're going to get into that. But we disagree. When we do disagree, we disagree very respectfully. So it's always good.
We disagree, but it's respectfully.
Yep. But we're gonna, before we get into the comfort zone, we're gonna talk a little bit about what we've been doing here lately, in our lives. So we're gonna do our regular check-in. So what's going on with the Castle?
So, I'm not a fan of this outdoor business. I'm tired of seeing this snow. We're at 3.5 weeks. So I'm a little bit in this three degree cold. Look, today, you can only see this if you're watching this on YouTube. I'm in the car, right? Marty's driving, and I look at myself, and this is what I see. I'm like this, and I'm like, my God, I look like Bernie Sanders. I have mittens on, and I've got my arms crossed. And I was like, why did me and Bernie both have our arms crossed with mittens like that? It's just so bizarre.
It's like a seated fetal position.
What if you have put mittens on? See what happens to you. It's just you immediately go into the Bernie. But anyway, I am. So I get it. Everybody made fun of him sitting in that chair with the mittens, but now I totally understand what happened to him. So I don't know. I'm a little bitter about this cold. What is it? At night? It feels like 3 degrees. But my friends from Florida are sending me pictures of their kids at Florida State, and they have snow. And yeah. I'm like, what are we going to do if we can't go to Florida to warm up? We're going to have to start going to South America. I don't know. Right?
Yeah, it's so, look, I've been saying for years, it doesn't snow here anymore. It doesn't really get cold here anymore. Well, this winter's been cold. There's been a lot of cold days.
Listen, usually I feel like the magic snow day for our area is like February 8th. I don't know why. That's just what I say every year. I feel like it's around there. So now I'm hoping because it came early, that everything else is going to come early. Let's warm up earlier. Let's not do this in February. We can't have 2 months of it.
So we got to wonder. So Punxsutawney Phil can't see a shadow.
So what happened? What was with Phil? What happened? What happened to him? Did he predict this?
No, it doesn't happen until February. Groundhog Day is in February.
That's right. What was I
And
thinking?
it just all he
It
does is
wasn't
say
the
whether
last year. It wasn't from the last year. It's for this year.
he just says whether it's going to be an early spring or not. And
He's
it's
just saying if it goes longer. I got you.
yeah, it's if he does it if he sees his shadow, I don't know how I forget how it goes. If he sees a shadow, it's one thing. If he does, in other words, if it's sunny that day, it's one way. If it's cloudy
Right.
that day, it's another. But
So
they put a
it's
groundhog in the
really
middle.
Mother Nature. It's Mother Nature. It's not Phil. Gosh.
They could have picked any random animal and just thrown him
Yeah,
in there and called it
true.
Go for Tortoise Day or whatever.
So
But yeah,
so we're just, we're living, and Jay, our team lost, our football team lost, the Ravens. The Castle was not a happy place to be Sunday night. I can tell you that.
yeah,
It wasn't happy at all. It was not happy. But we have switched over to your Commanders because
there you
we
go.
do like the coach, Dan Quinn. Marty played football with him. So that's who Marty and I are cheering for. I don't know about my children. They're
Yeah,
bitter.
it's
Bitter.
I was look. I did not have high expectations for the Commanders this year. I knew when they drafted this quarterback they would be better, but I didn't think they would be this good this quick. And so look, when they made the playoffs at all, I was like, okay, they've overachieved for me. Whatever happens, I'm good. Now they've won two playoff games. They're in the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles, one of their rivals.
Yeah.
So if they win Sunday, they're in the Super Bowl. Who would have ever thought? Even me as a diehard Washington fan, I would have
Yeah.
never, ever, ever imagined this year.
But it's sports are so, oh my gosh, like we're lucky, and I know we're lucky to have teams that just perform for us lately and get into those playoff seasons. Even think about our Orioles. I mean, we're just so close, and then it just doesn't happen, and you're like, ugh, you take it so personal.
Well, I hate to say this, Cathy, but they're not going to be as good this coming year.
I know.
They lost Burns. They lost Santander. Just signed with the Toronto Blue Jays.
He's solid. Well,
Um,
my kids are just mad already before season. They're like, whatever. The Dodgers are just gonna take it all.
yeah, the Dodgers are getting everybody. Literally, they're picking up everybody. So the
Yeah.
Yankees have gotten better. So it's not going to be the Yankees and the Dodgers again. I don't know, but we'll see. You never know.
It's like, darn it. Anyway,
So I
you.
want to talk about in my check in on my end. I've been kind of keenly following this whole TikTok shutdown thing. And it's funny. Right before I came on, I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about it.
Now, let me ask you this. Did you think it was really going to go away?
I did.
Like,
Yes.
okay, so you weren't, now I was surprised when it went dark that night because I didn't think it would.
I was
But
not. That did not surprise me.
that surprised me. But I didn't think it would stay away.
And I did not, and I was not surprised. This is a bad thing to say. I was not surprised at all that most of the adult world seemed to fall to pieces because TikTok was going for 12 hours. That I knew that was going to happen. We've talked about that whole social media
Well,
thing.
this is my theory that TikTok now is too attached to commerce. It's too attached to money. There's too much being sold on it. I didn't think it would be on.
Well, here's a theory that when I was listening to the podcast before I started recording, and I had not even thought about this because it was President Trump who basically said, "Nope. As soon as I'm in office officially, we're going to extend their thing for 90 days and try to work this out." And they said, I wonder if this was not a thing that the Trump administration and TikTok did together to make Trump look good, like he saved the day. He has now he's got the whole TikTok world behind him because and in his post he actually posted and he said because he's a poster like Donald Trump is like a social media guy. He said, "Yeah, we got to have TikTok because I want as many people to see the inauguration as possible."
Mm-hmm.
That's your reasoning for TikTok? Come on. But anyway, so yeah, there was that whole thing, and it lasted a whole 12, like a little over 12 hours. It came back on at noon on Sunday. And
Well, I was not that I was laughing, funny, haha, but I was laughing because there are people, that we all shamelessly follow whatever we're following, but everybody was saying their goodbyes, and I'm thinking, how do they really think this is going to go away? It is not going to go away. If it does, it's not going to be for long.
Well, I knew it would go away because, especially as it got closer, because there just wasn't enough time. Um, Elon Musk was like, "Hey, let me buy into it," and
Right?
then Mr. Wonderful, the guy on Shark
Yeah,
Tank,
yeah, yeah. Shark
he was
Tank.
going to buy Kevin O'Leary.
Yeah,
He wanted to buy part of it, and then there was people that were wanting to get involved financially to
yeah.
kind of save the day or whatever, but they just didn't have enough time to
Gosh,
get all the pieces put together. So
right.
basically, Donald Trump is giving them a 90-day extension to try to work this out somehow, some way. So
I thought I read 75 days. It went down to 75, but I'm not sure. Don't quote
yeah,
me.
yeah, I don't know either.
They'll figure all this out. They'll figure
Yes.
it all out. But I didn't, it's crazy, right? How we've gotten attached to TikTok. I'm not a frequent TikToker, but every now and then I'm on it, and the algorithms that follow you, I guess, what you're looking at.
It's the of the big three because I'm not on X at all. I've
Me,
never been on,
I'm not either.
not at all. So of the big three that I have, it's the one that I am on the least. And I'm
Yeah.
not. I
Me
don't
too.
have a personal. I don't have a personal account on there at all. It's just an Eastern Shore
Uh
Talk
huh.
account. So it's literally 100%
I
Eastern
don't
Shore Talk.
post on it. I don't post anything on mine. I just watch
I do, but it's all
just
it's
watch
all it's all
reels.
podcast stuff. Yeah, it's all that kind of stuff.
But now with Facebook and Instagram, you can watch reels, which are basically TikTok videos. So
Yeah, but they're not. They're not. They can't be as long.
I see.
They don't have the space now. Although
That's right.
Instagram just up there is from 1 minute to 3 minutes.
I didn't know that.
Yep, like just within the past week or two.
But yeah, because they thought maybe they'd get some business off of TikTok,
Um,
getting in trouble there.
but yeah, well, a lot. Well, I say that TikTok. Well, they all do. They all have what's called.
So what is the length on a TikTok?
I don't know, and it might not be any longer. I just think so many people do TikTok lives, just like you can do a Facebook live
Yeah.
or Instagram live, and that's basically you go live, and it can. I think you can do up to 2 hours on those. I think that's what you see that's so long as you see the TikTok
I
live.
think the only reason why I like the videos is that I watch things that just make me laugh hard out loud. Like, and you would probably disown me as a friend. It's probably middle school boy humor. I don't know, but it's stupid stuff.
I found this other app, and it's actually I think TikTok owns it. It's called Lemonade.
Oh wait, my kids told me about that.
It's lemon and then the number 8. But it got shut down just like
Yeah,
TikTok,
that's what they
but
said.
it's back as well. However, it's pretty cool because it's like a combination of Instagram and Pinterest. You you
Oh, really?
yep, you download the app and it asks you for categories like what you want to follow.
Yeah.
And like food was one of mine. So like half of my thing when I go into Lemonade is like people's recipes. It looks so much like Pinterest in that way.
Oh,
But yet
interesting.
I
I do like
can
Pinterest.
go to the For You page and see whatever, see any kind of content. So
Huh.
it looks completely different than everybody else, but it's like a combination of Instagram and Pinterest. It's kind of cool that way.
Gosh, didn't I mean, what do you think? You think social media for our generation X? Do you think it's like that's the news for us? It's like
Kind of.
it's our
Yeah.
magazine, it's our news.
Yeah.
Really, if you think about
Yeah.
it. I bet you magazines are definitely down. Don't you think?
Oh yeah. It's funny. I got gas the other day and I was standing in line and I looked over and I saw the Star Democrat. But it's not a newspaper like it's just like a little brochure almost thing.
I
It's just
know.
like a
And
single fold.
it is not every day, and ours comes in the mail now.
Yeah.
It's not
It's so
delivered.
small. Yeah, it's so small you can fit it in the mail.
Yeah, that it makes me sad that that's the way that's happened, but that's the way it's
Or you
happened.
subscribe and get it online.
Yeah, but for some reason I can't adapt. I can't make that switch. A
Yeah.
newspaper's a newspaper. I'm either going to look at it for my brain. I can't. I won't look at it online. I don't know why. It's weird. Now, if they had a Facebook page that said all the news, I'd watch that. then it would be free. Then what's the whole point of advertising and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So real quick before we get into the comfort zone, I want to touch real quick on a couple things. The first is for anyone who might be watching or listening for the first time or not familiar with the Eastern Shore Talk website,
Mhm.
we have something new called the Self Care Network. And what that is, it's basically a page on the website easternshoretalk.org where you click on network links and it goes to a page we call Self Care Network. And what we do is we break it down into different categories of self care and wellness, um, mental health, therapy, massage, yoga, gym trainer. There's several, and then there's a category for others that kind of don't fit into any one specific category. And what that is it's a big hub where you can go on the Eastern Shore Talk website and click on the Self Care Network page, and you can then look at your category and find what kind of self care that you're looking for, and it will then take you directly to that specific type of self care that you're looking for in all the categories. Um, so we there's a lot of local folks here, some not as local that have joined the network. They're also going to be a part of the expo that we're in the planning stages for this summer. So keep an ear out for that. We're starting to work on finding a venue and narrowing down date and time and place and all that good stuff. So um, we want to try to get everyone that we can in the self care and wellness arena and kind of let the local midshore community know some of the things that are available to them to kind of help take care of themselves. So we're going to help the people help themselves by just getting out, connecting with everyone, letting them know what's available in our midshore area and beyond. Because we're going to have people from not just the midshore, but basically all over the state, Delaware. Yeah, and we've had a really good response to that so far. So we're starting to work on that. So keep your ears tuned for that, and yeah, we'll be doing that this summer, and we hope you guys will come out and see us then.
Sounds good.
So we're going to talk about the comfort zone tonight, and it's funny. Some of the ideas, Kathy, that I get for topics on our podcast are kind of offshoots from conversations that we've had on other episodes,
Right.
and we've referred to the comfort zone, or at least I've referred to my comfort zone
Yes.
several times along the way during in my journey and my process of kind of sorting out my life and dealing with my trauma and trying to find a healthier and happier self along the way. And so I hear a lot of other people talk about it and folks refer to it, and I kind of I think it's important to kind of define, or at least I'll define what I feel like the term comfort zone is, because I don't really feel like the comfort zone is the comfort zone in the way that people think that it is. I think that it's more or less one of two things. It's either it's what should be called the familiar zone instead of the comfort zone. That
Okay.
is one, and the other one is it's a safety net. So the familiar part is um, we kind of get stuck in identifying ourselves as whatever, as this narrow thing, whatever that is. So we're familiar with that. We identify with that.
Right.
So anything outside of what is familiar to us, anything that's outside of what we feel like we identify ourselves as, is terrifying and scary. So we stay to what in the lane that's familiar. So that's one part of the comfort zone. The other one is we're just we we've had an event in our life, trauma. We're in a struggle or have struggled, and we, someone like myself, we shut down and we isolate and we, you know, put walls up and we close down, and because we feel like it's safe and secure. So anything outside of that stays out there. We're in our bubble. We create this bubble, so that's where the whole safety net. It's our safe space.
Right.
It's not, but it's not really comfortable because we're in pain. We're struggling. We're going through it. So it's not comfort that we're seeking. We've convinced ourselves that it's safe there because we want to shut out. potential other sources of harm that are out there in the world. So we close ourselves down into the safe zone, safety net, whatever. So that's kind of how I see often kind of what is termed the comfort zone is kind of a little bit deceptive. Um, and there's like I'll get into a little bit more here in a minute why I feel like people put themselves in these boxes. I kind of touched on it here just a minute ago, but I'd like to hear your perhaps differing thoughts on the comfort zone.
Well, I think we all need a comfort zone. I think we all have a comfort zone, and it's defined. It is defined as familiar. I won't be able to say this word.
Familiarity.
Familiarity. um, we all have it. Whether it's maybe our home is our sanctuary, like that. Maybe somebody like me that's been in my job for a really long time. You're in your comfort zone, and it's familiar, it's routine, and it feels like a safe place. And I think that stepping out of comfort, it could be anything. It could be, I have a senior in high school. He's familiar with it, and when that ends, the next step for him, I've had four of those boy children. It's a little bit out of their comfort zone, right? The next step, because they're not familiar with it. Or whatever it is. I think it's people could define that different. They probably have. I think people have multiple comfort zones. Maybe it's a sports team. Maybe it's Easton. Maybe it's the street you live on. Maybe it's your friends. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's our movies, our our streaming shows. That's our comfort zone to watch a certain genre. But whatever it is, I don't think comfort zones are bad things for people, but I think that I'm thinking, and if I'm getting too far along, you can just cut me off. But
Okay.
if I'm thinking that stepping out of comfort zones are difficult for people, um, for a couple reasons. One, perhaps it makes us a little more vulnerable, and vulnerability is not a comfortable thing for people. And two, I think we're our own worst enemy with negativity. So if we're going to step over that line out of the comfort zone into vulnerability, let's just say, I think that our own minds are the first one to attack ourselves. Oh, you're going to fail. What if you fail? Or you're going to look stupid. People are going to say this about you. It's not going to work. So I think there's a lot of negativity that we create in ourselves based on whatever, maybe experiences, maybe things we've seen from other people. So that's my quick thoughts about the comfort zone.
Now, I completely hear what you're saying, and I do agree. But here's my question: would it be fair to say that the reason why we are in this space, whatever you want to define it as, comfort zone, whatever, would it be fair to say that the reason we're there determines whether it's a healthy place or not? In other words, if we're
Mm,
there out of fear because we're afraid of what else there is, for whatever reason, that's one thing. But if we're there because you know being at home with your family is just that's just a good healthy place. So in that sense, it's a comfort zone. That's a good thing. We're there for that. But if we're
right,
there as a trauma response, if we're
right.
there out of anxiety, if we're there for unhealthy things, then the why makes all the difference in the world. Is that a fair question?
I say I would agree with you on that.
Yeah,
People are probably definitely in spaces that they define as comfort zones that there aren't a good place. It's not good for them.
correct.
Definitely. I agree
Yeah,
with that.
yeah. So I don't think we
Yeah.
disagree over what a comfort zone is.
Yeah.
We kind of overlap in it, as I tend to do. I go so analytical to it. I go directly to the why. So instead of taking the steps and saying, okay, there can be a healthy comfort zone for sure, but
Yeah.
there can also be times when we limit ourselves to this small box when we're capable of a bigger box.
In comfort zone, I argue that comfort zone is a form of self care for some people. Like if my comfort zone,
If the why is healthy, yes.
if I said, hey, and if I said when I'm struggling, I go to Easton Point and sit on a bench and look at the water because that's my comfort zone. So in that scenario, I don't do that, but I like the idea of that, by the way, because
Right.
I do think water. So I personally believe that water is very healthy, and it's an element like we've talked about before: water, sun, fire, whatever that
Yeah.
kind of we gravitate to. But I think if somebody went there and said that's my comfort zone, then that's a good thing because they know what is going to um, rebalance themselves.
Yeah.
Now, if you stayed there all the time and didn't interact with people and didn't stopped going to work or whatever, then your comfort zone may start
Strangle you. Yeah.
affecting. Like somebody might think the casino's their comfort zone, but if you start going there all the time, it may start hitting your bank account and
Yeah.
messing with your relationships.
Oh shoot! I totally lost my train of thought. Totally lost my train of thought.
Um,
Go ahead. Go ahead and read your article while I'm thinking.
Yeah. So I do have an article, and we can come in and out of the article, but
Yep.
you know, I do believe this that we all have our comfort zone, but that to be able to grow and develop, we
That's
just
what I forgot. That's
is
what. That's what.
that what you funny. Yeah. I mean, I can think of plenty of times in my life from like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to step out. I don't want to grow and develop. I don't feel like it. I'm tired. I don't want to do it. But every time growth, for me personally, growth happens when I step out. But you got to be vulnerable and you got to step out
Yeah.
and ready to be smacked in the face if you can
You
be
can't be
smacked in
afraid to
the face.
fail because you're
Yeah.
probably going to fail along the way. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was getting at. The whole you're limiting your growth if you're confining yourselves for unhealthy reasons. And look, I'm not throwing shade at anybody. I was the king of that
No,
for.
certainly not. But
I was. I mean, look, I've talked many times on the podcast about my
well, the
trauma.
podcast in itself,
Yep.
podcast in itself is a representation of that.
Yes.
Like, were we going to fail? Were
I
we going to
lived the
succeed?
ultimate trauma response. I self isolated and was antisocial. I confined myself in a place I thought was safe and sound and um, away from any possible sources of hurt and harm because I'd
Yeah,
had enough of that. Um, but yet here we are talking on a podcast, something I would have never in a million billion years
trillion.
would have ever tried, thought of, done. Uh, um, Talking in front of a group of people in the in-person groups when we first started out,
Yeah,
especially I would have. I mean, but I have found parts of myself that I swore didn't exist. I'm like, nope, I'm not capable, can't do it. And don't get me wrong, there are still some elements that because I have not had the practical practice of doing certain social things that I literally don't have the skill set for. That's true. However,
right.
I've also found parts of myself that I've always had the ability to do, but I talked myself out of it because I wanted to be
Right.
safe.
See, you're
I would have
negative self-talk.
I would have rather been safe, or I was talking myself into rather being safe than being better, being growing. I didn't know that at the time because if you know better, you do better. Um, so I'm telling you, and look, when we try new things and we go outside and especially when we venture in the areas that we've never done, don't know anything about, we're probably going to fail. However, I believe my opinion is that when we take that moonshot, when we
Yeah.
every once in a while, you're going to take a giant stride forward, and the Eastern Shore Talk, the whole entity of Eastern Shore Talk has been my giant stride forward. It
Right.
has. introduced parts of myself that were there all along. They were just buried so deep, and I get to a loss of words sometimes and I wish that for everyone, especially those who have kind of shut down and have gone through it, and they're
Well,
fearful of trying the outside world. That is the scariest place for all of us who've been through that kind of thing.
and I think that stepping out of the comfort zone doesn't have to mean like humongous. Like you don't have to be Jay,
No,
go start a podcast or lead a group, but it could be as simple as like maybe you want to broaden your nutritional skill or cooking skills, right?
right.
You want to eat differently, but you're like, oh, I'm terrible. I'm more comfortable doing this or cooking just these things, like I don't know. People are afraid they're going to fail. It's that whole creativity thing. I think people are afraid or people believe they're not creative. I don't know why people put that label on themselves. Everybody has the potential to be creative.
It's a fear of judgment, is what it is, Kathy. They're afraid how people are going to think of them.
But you
Yeah,
know what I mean? How many times you hear people say, "I can't do that. I'm not creative." They
right.
immediately put that up. Nope, can't do it. Not gonna go out of that comfort zone. Not gonna try to draw that or make that Christmas ornament, or I'm not gonna try to cook that
Yeah,
pasta.
yeah.
I'm not gonna try to speak at that group because I guess they're afraid. They're afraid of, like you said, failing or that's that somebody's gonna say that's terrible. I mean, most of the time I don't know that I hear people saying that about other people. Maybe
No.
singing. Singing might be something you need to know how to do before you step out your comfort zone.
We will talk about you behind your back if you can't sing.
Yeah, if I started busting out in a song right now, y'all may be talking about me later because, yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think
you and I would have a talk. I'd be like,
that would work. But there's plenty of things. So back to this article, I guess if you're somebody that wanted to, maybe you're like, I do want to try something different, or I do feel like I'm not growing, or I do feel a little bored. What is it that you want to do? And there's people that just jump right into something, like it's like, let's just pull the band-aid off, we're gonna jump in the cold pool. Or that is one way. Or you can take small steps toward whatever that
yeah.
is. And then another point is, this is such a good point, surround yourself with confident people. We often in our lifetime make those choices to surround ourselves with people that probably aren't the best people for us, and sometimes those are our own family members because we feel like we need to because they're our family. I'm not saying that as an example of my own life. I'm just saying in general. Before my family's like, thanks a lot, and my friends are like, thanks a lot. But you know what I mean? People don't know how to get outside the comfort of people. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's like you got to figure out who's working for you and who's not in your life circle. And sometimes that means pulling yourself away from toxic people. And sometimes when you're in it, you don't see them. But surrounding yourself with just good role models, good, confident people, lots of good stuff, I think, comes from growth and learning out of your comfort zone from those kind of people.
I tell you, I think another good way, Kathy, to kind of, to step outside of the quote unquote comfort zone that's not such a giant leap is in the self care arena. Try some different activities for self care. Um, they're not, like with me, and with me, it was just hot tea. Kathy said, "Hey, try some hot tea." That's the simplest thing. You're not out and about. Nobody's going to see you or judge you, or not that anybody would for hot tea, but whatever. But on our website, we've got a whole long list of different types of things, different levels of. I give them point values based on how involved they are. There's probably 70 or 80 things we list. You'll probably go down there and say, "Oh, I've never done that before, but I could try that." Try whether it's taking a painting class or walk on the beach and look for sea glass or Kathy, we've talked so many times about self care is pretty much endless. I mean, you could think of a million self care things. Try some different self care things. If you've never gone and had a massage, Kathy and I both recommend going and getting a
Heck
massage for
yeah.
sure. But
And
you
if
know,
you don't want the whole massage at first, you're scared, do the pedicure because at least you're getting from the knee down. You
yeah.
start with that.
So yeah, if you're looking to kind of try new things, but you're also kind of serving yourself, kind of do try some new things in the self care world. Try some new activities, whatever that is.
Well,
Um,
I'll give you an example of something that I just tried. I haven't done this before. Was do you know Emily's Produce? Have you heard of that?
yeah,
In
yep,
gosh, they are some nice people.
down there outside of Cambridge.
If I
Yeah,
could push that business, let me tell you, they're nice, nice, nice people. Anyway, they visit them when they're open. They're not open to public right now, but anyway, they're doing a they call it a CSA, and I can't even remember what the acronym stands for, but they're food programs, and I've thought about it for a long time. They might have do it in 3 different seasons. This is our winter CSA program, and it's closed now, by the way. So you pay a certain amount of money and you get I picked the most. I picked twice a month for 3 months and you get a box of food. So what and you think about it, well, what's the worst that could happen with that? Maybe I'd get food I don't like. Okay, then what? Maybe you give it to somebody. I don't
yeah,
know.
yep,
But so I tried it and then I was like, oh well, it might not be enough because I have a big family, but it's really cool and it's a new thing and it's a box of food. And I met them in the Kohl's parking lot. I felt like I was doing a drug deal in this white unmarked vehicle. And there's a big steak in there, and there's produce, and they did pressed juice, and there's cheese, and frozen blackberries that they picked from the summer. And then they send you a Pinterest board with all these recipes. But I'm like, what a cool thing. I
yeah,
probably have thought about it for at least 2 years. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. And I'm so happy I did. And now I feel like I can even email them, and they're so friendly. That's a small example, but
yeah,
not that cooking's out of my comfort zone, but the concept was.
yeah. It's funny as you were talking, it reminded me. Remember when I texted you? Was it last weekend or the week before when I found Wahlburgers burgers?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
still
was,
forgot about that. I want to try them.
they're so good and they're so big and juicy and oh, they're so good.
We should get. I'll tell you, we should get these Emily Produce on a podcast. I'm telling you, these
Okay,
people,
yeah,
the real deal.
yeah. I was in Acme and I was like, I'm going to make some burgers. And I'm not one who makes burgers very often. I'm a chicken and fish
So
guy.
you really didn't make the burger.
So I'm like, I'm gonna. Well, yeah, I didn't make the patties, but my intention was to make the patties. But as I'm in there, I'm like, I heard people talk about, oh, Wahlburgers is so good, Wahlburgers is so good. So I found them, and I'm like, let me give this a shot. And Kathy is so funny, and you know how I am, especially with food. And don't get me wrong, I'll eat anything, I'll try anything, but I have like a group of dishes that I make consistently, and I
Yes,
kind of stick,
your chili and your
I
soup.
kind of stick to those for the
Yeah.
most part. But as I'm doing this, I'm like, I'm going to try some new toppings on my hamburger this
Look at
time.
you, out of the
So
comfort zone.
I'm normally like mustard and pickles,
Oh gosh, Jay,
but
Jay,
here's what I did.
those are my two least favorite hamburger toppings. I can't even believe it. You just said mustard and pickles.
So here's what I did,
That,
Kathy. I did
that's disgusting. I'm
I
just saying.
did I did lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, and I still did the pickles, but I did bread and butter pickles.
Oh, Brennan will do that. Yeah.
And I tell you what, those bread and butter sliced pickles, it made the burger. I mean, it so made the burger.
Look at you,
And I was like, and look,
Gourmet Jay.
I'm a two burger kind of guy. And I was like, I had a hard time finishing two because they're so big and
Oh,
thick and
because you like the smash burgers?
yes.
Yeah, smash burgers are good.
And they're a third or 1/3 pound. They're a little bit bigger than the quart, but they're good. They're thick.
You can cut Wahlburger in half and smash them, and then have two patties.
No, I don't want to do a Big Mac Wahlburger. I just kind of did the Jay Watson version of the Wahlburger burger, and they were they were so good.
I'm gonna call that the Dream Weaver version. Okay.
but yeah, and it's funny. I'm like, oh, I want to make something. So I've been looking on Pinterest and all kind of places looking for
So
tips.
now you gotta grill the bun. You gotta get a really good bun and grill the bun.
Yeah,
What we
I did get Martin's potato rolls as my
Yes, potato
hamburger.
rolls.
Oh, they're so good. That makes a difference. You can't just get a plain old just hamburger bun.
Yeah, the potato roll just is an extra,
Yeah,
right?
that's kind of like a gourmet
Different
hamburger bun.
cheeses. You know what we try sometimes is you ever had that Boursin cheese?
Uh-uh.
It's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's round. It's round. It says Boursin on top, and there's different there's different herb and garlic or
Right.
whatever. Anyway, it's almost like a cream cheese spread,
Mm.
but it's called the name of it is the maker is Boursin, I guess. And
Is
you
it
can
Boar's or Boar's Head?
nope Boursin.
But you know Boar's. Yeah, Boar's Head
Yeah.
is a lot of meats and stuff. Yeah, okay.
So it like you open it up, it's like this pretty foil, like white foil, and then it's spreadable. So we put that on the grilled bun with the burger and slice of cheese and other stuff. It gets serious in my house. Burger is a serious topic.
You know what got me on that kick of wanting to do burgers was I caught diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Oh, guy.
I used to watch that all the time. I
Yeah,
love
man.
it's
That
something.
sure makes you hungry.
It makes you want to eat all the time.
Sounds like you want to eat.
And I'm like, and they
Yeah.
make it look so easy. I'm like, man, I could actually do that.
Now you want to get into that red car when you leave too.
Yeah.
You want that red car to be
I
waiting in
was
Acme for you.
that. Yeah. But man, I was like, I got to make something substantial. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. But yeah, you stepped out of the comfort zone. I like it. I like it.
It could be something like you said, just trying the recipe. Um, and I'm all for that. I could do it.
And even with spices and stuff, you don't have to follow the recipe exact. I never follow. Shoot, I make something, and my kids will be like, "That's amazing." I'm like, "You're never gonna get it again because I don't know what I did." Because I'm dumping and stirring, and I don't know what I did for the
Yeah,
most part.
I think getting back to kind of
Comfort
comfort
zone.
zones and why we kind of can get stuck in a bad way is I think we kind of like you talked about earlier, Kathy, that self talk, that negative self talk. We maybe don't think we're capable of trying this new thing, or that we're worried about being judged, or
Hmm.
looking embarrassing, um, or in my case, you're just afraid of having to deal with people that of any any way that you're just worried that you're going to be disappointed or let down or hurt in some way. So we
Well,
kind of
I'm looking at something else here, Jay, talking about when you're stepping out of your comfort zone, right? Um, use your sensory stuff to feel calm. I'm a big sensory person. Like, I won't tell all my secrets, but because you will be laughing at me. But bla- I'll tell one, and you can laugh at this. Like blankets are a big deal for me. Like
you've said that before.
I can cocoon myself in a blanket in a minute, and I feel so calm.
With
I can.
blankets and mittens, you're all good.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. This mitten thing is new, but anyway, the blanket stuff is serious for me. And there's different. This is where I'm telling too much. Different textures of blankets have different meaning to me. That's all I'm gonna say.
That part does not surprise me. Knowing how you are with knowing how you are with tea and how you are with mugs with tea,
You know,
that falls right. There's a theme developing
and
here.
there may be like some of this going on. Anyway, so yeah, but if you're out of
I'm
the
gonna start
comfort,
calling you Linus.
yes, I'm Linus. I am Linus, and that blanket sometimes can be. Yes, I get it. I understand him. Is all I'm going to say. But whatever it is, sometimes it smells some touching, or maybe it's warm Ugg boots right now. Whatever. Maybe you need some sensory things to kind of put you in a calm when you've stepped out of the comfort zone. It's just like you use people to help you feel regulated. And like I could call you and talk to you if there's a problem, or another friend. But sensory things. What is it? RT. RT is a sensory thing.
Yeah.
God, nature all day long. So, you can bring your self care stuff with you to help you deal with stepping across that line out of your
Yeah.
comfort zone.
They
Bring
can be a
yourself
part of it and assist you in it at the same time.
See, there it is. We're two-timing again. Just like I can brush my teeth and do my calf raises, you can step out of the comfort zone and use your self-care.
Yeah. Self care, all roads lead to self care, and self care leads to all roads.
There you go, right?
That's gonna be a title of a book or something, or a T-shirt or something.
Yeah. I
So, what
like
else does that article say, Kath?
this one made me laugh. Evaluate your risk tolerance. Right? Um
How scary is it?
like, and I go back to the swimming pool analogy,
Yeah.
if it's May and that pool's still a little cold and you're like, "Mm, if how's my heart going to be if I jump in here?"
How big of a leap outside the comfort zone are you making? It
Right.
doesn't have to be the gigantic leap. It can just dip your toe in. Yeah.
Yes. How about acknowledging your fears too? That's a big step. Is okay. What is it? What am I afraid of? Let me just
Understanding
get
the
it out.
why. Yep.
You know, I'm going to be afraid. Why are you afraid to? I can remember. Well, speaking in front of people, the anxiety that I would get. I remember being in college and I feel like my knees are just knocking. Like, can I be behind a podium that did not, people could not see my legs because I'm pretty sure my knees are knocking and I can feel my heart going. I do get a little bit of that now when I first start. And then just like the podcast, then you don't have it. The more you do it,
Yeah.
the more you're like, you know what? If I'm the worst thing people got to talk about today, then I guess I gave him something to talk about. I don't know. What was my fear? That I'd look stupid, my zippers down. I don't know. Um, what else? This is an interesting. Train your fearless muscle. Coming out of the comfort zone is always scary. The only way to become good at it is to do it often,
Yeah.
like training a
Yep.
muscle. The more you use it, the stronger you become. The more you face your fear of doing something unfamiliar, the easier it gets. Yeah. Find a role model that you can follow in this. We talked about that earlier. Remember what you want to achieve. Partner with someone to learn a new skill. That's
Yes. Yep.
that's a great idea,
Yeah.
right?
That's always good, and just in self care in general too. You just if you're going to try something new, try it with a friend. That way, you can both be embarrassed together.
And don't feel bad about asking people. I've pulled a couple hobbies out over the last couple of years, and one is trying to make royal icing cookies, and another is using my Cricut machine that I purchased from somebody else. It wasn't originally mine, and now I have people calling me, "Will you show me how to do that?" And I'm like, "How did I just become an expert? Because I'm not." So in a way that is a little bit out of my comfort zone because there are people that are really good at both of those things. I am not really good, but I don't mind showing somebody what I've learned so that they can have fun or they can come out of their comfort zone in
Well,
something new.
when would you think it's important to ask yourself, is what you think is your comfort zone? Is it important to ask yourself, is this the healthy comfort zone that we talked about earlier in the conversation, or am I limiting myself by being in this space? And well, as I say that, I'm like, do we always know? Do we always know that it's an unhealthy place? That might be the kicker. Um, but I think most people, if they kind of logically think about it, like you said, whether it's your family at home, that's your good
You
comfort.
could
Thing.
this
The
topic
gym
could
for
get
some people, or church is a, you know what I mean?
this topic could get deep and get us in trouble. I won't go too much down the trouble lane, but think about relationships. How many people stay in a relationship because
Well, the tricky thing is, Kathy, a relationship can be both the healthy comfort zone.
yeah.
It can go either way, and I think we just might have stumbled onto something here. I think when that road splits, when we end up going, we go into a definitive direction, healthy or unhealthy.
Yeah.
I think we all of us need to get better of recognizing that point and being like, this isn't like it should be or how it was, or
Yeah.
it's easier said than done. But
And how many young people, or how many, even not young people, they just stay with somebody because they're like, Who else am I going to meet?
It's familiar.
I'm just
It's the
comfortable.
safety net. Yep.
Yeah. And, then years later, they're like, anyway,
Why did I do that? I should have left earlier. Yep. Yeah.
I've heard so
And
many
I've done it.
people.
I've done it myself. So yeah.
We all have done it. And, yeah. Not my current relationship. I'm good. All good.
So
Marty,
yeah.
I'm not questioning you, buddy. We're good.
So yeah, we've kind of determined that the comfort zone can be a good place and it can be an unhealthy place, and kind of knowing which is which is important. Um, knowing to not having to feel like you have to take the giant leap to grow out of an unhealthy quote unquote comfort zone is a good thing.
And sometimes people challenge us. I find this in my work environment all the time. People will say, "Hey, I've been thinking about you. Would you do X, Y, and Z?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, I don't want to do it. I got too much on my plate, or whatever." Now, you do need to be able to say when to say no. You can't just say, "Yeah, yeah, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to step out of the comfort zone, 10 times this week." We're not suggesting overwhelming yourself, but sometimes people see things in you. A lot of time, most of the time, when you say others see something and you
Yes,
see in yourself. So if that calling comes,
that
maybe
goes
we're,
back. That goes back, Kathy, to what you were saying earlier. Surround yourself with the right kind of people.
because they know it's,
And well, not just that, but it just their presence will inspire us. Sometimes we're
yeah.
like, oh, I see them trying these new things. And look, it doesn't have to be bungee jumping or
Okay,
jumping out of
it
an
will
airplane.
never be bungee jumping for me. Okay, you will no one will ever convince me that that's a good. That's locked down.
Yeah, you
Nope,
know what I'm getting at, though.
lockdown comfort zone. Not doing it. You got to know your limits.
if we're lucky enough to have the right people in our lives that you know, even without trying to, they just kind of inspire us by how they live their life, and you're like, wow, you know, I'd like to be more that way. Um, and even if you're not, even look, there's even something to be said about you don't have to necessarily be in an unhealthy place in your life. You could just be like, there's this thing, whatever it is, I would just like to try, and you just haven't for whatever reason. It could just been you never had the time before, or it was the time in your life wasn't right, or whatever. The timing was off, but you're just like, I'm going to take that trip to wherever that you always wanted to do. You
I can
know,
tell you one fail, one comfort zone fail for me. Okay, I don't like roller coasters. I don't.
I don't either.
So probably before this happened, the last time I went on a roller coaster was in 1992 at Kings Dominion on the Scooby Doo roller coaster, and I didn't like it. Anyway, we go to Disney. 2018. That's probably the last time we've been there. We're due a trip back. The kids convinced me on two roller coaster. One was Slinky Dog. Slinky Dog. It was in um, Woody and what's his name? Woody and Tom Hanks is who? He's Woody and Buzz Lightyear. That land.
Yeah.
Slinky
Toy
Dog.
Story.
Toy Story is what I'm trying to get at. And they're like, "Look, Mom, there's little kids." And I'm looking at the little kids. I'm like, "Who's crying?" Whatever. And I'm like interviewing little kids. I'm like, "Were you okay? Are you okay?" And I was when I got off that ride, I was like, "I hate every single one of you. You all, I will never trust you again." That was horrible. I hated it. Anyway, that was a fail. The roller coaster experience at Disney World. Yeah. Two. And I did two. I did Slinky and I did Splash Mountain. And I hated them both. And I hated my family for that moment. I love them
I
again.
remember doing Rebel Yell at Kings Dominion, and
Jay, that's a
I
big
did
one.
I did not feel good after I threw up. I was not feeling that.
So sometimes there are fails. There you go. Roller
Yeah,
coaster fails.
yeah, that one, like that whole. It starts out, you go up slow, tick,
Oh,
tick, 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 and it's a little
yeah.
bit,
That
and then
tick.
you get to the top and you hesitate, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're going straight down a
And you
thousand miles
probably
per hour.
are. You
And
probably are.
oh,
Then you're like, and this is wooded. And what if it's not safe?
yeah, I'm not a
Okay, so
I,
our comfort zone, Jay and I don't support a roller coaster comfort zone
yeah,
experiences.
I
You're on
can't,
your
I
own.
can't,
We're
I
out of
can't get on board with that one either. Yeah, knock yourself out if that's your thing, but
it.
I'm not an advocate.
No, we will not be doing that. That's good. Right. That's right. Too fun.
All right, so before we get out of here, Kath,
Yeah.
let's talk about what we've been watching lately. And you've been
I feel like I should score high on the Jay Watson watch list. I
that
feel
sounds like I'm
accomplished.
the FBI or something. Yeah.
I feel so accomplished. Okay, I have several things going on. Ready? One is still watching Murders in the Building, Only Murders in the Building on Hulu, and
You're on episode or season 3 now.
wait, let me say it in professional language. Ready? S3E10. Okay, so I'm on the
That's like
last episode.
shorthand. That's just
I know,
shorthand
right?
streaming language.
Yeah. So I'm on I love it, and then I blame Jay for like go not my sleep got highly reduced over the last couple weeks of binge watching because Marty and I have a problem. Anyway, so that's that. I'm not done. I have one more season, so I had to slow it down because I'm going to lose my friends soon when I'm done season 4. I know there's season 5 coming, but I'm not ready to lose my friends yet. So then I switched, and then my kids are watching Modern Family, and I don't even know when that show came out, but for some reason I missed that whole show when it came out. And then my youngest Dylan he'll go into these phases where he's like, I'm going to rewatch Block, and he'll watch the whole everything. So now this is one of those things Dylan's doing. So then we're just, when he's watching it, we're watching a couple episodes of it at a time, and I'm like, this is kind of funny. So I missed that. And so that's that. And then I watched a movie. So I'm being so good. So it was Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz. And the only reason why I probably picked this up is I saw it on the Today Show that they were interviewing. I don't know who they were interviewing, or maybe they were just talking about the movie. But I was interested because we haven't seen Cameron Diaz in a long
She's
time.
kind of retired for a while. Yeah.
She looks good. That girl looks good. Anyway, I guess they must have been talking to her, and she was talking about how lovely it was to work with Jamie Foxx. And of course, we're all rooting for Jamie Foxx after he had that health scare.
Yeah.
And anyway, so the movie's called Back in Action, and it's on Netflix. Now, Jay said Rotten Tomatoes did a little Rotten Tomato on it,
Yeah, they got
right?
a very rotten tomato.
They were
A
they
24%. Well, that's low. If you're below 50, it's bad.
So come on, tomato people. But this is what I thought about it. So this is from female Gen Xer. So maybe that's my problem. But I could relate to the movie in a way, not because Marty and I are super spies, but Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz are married in this movie, and they're super spies. So they kind of retired and had kids, but there's a lot of kid stuff in there that Marty and I could totally relate
Yeah.
to, where you're like, where your teenagers don't think you're as as you think you are, kind of stuff. But anyway, it's and I won't give it away. I think it's worth watching, and it's their spy story. And there's just who else was in it? Who else was it? Jay, you always know everybody.
I
Was it?
have not seen it, so
Oh, her mom was it Glenn Close? Yeah, I think her mom was
I
Glenn
mean,
Close.
that would make sense.
She might have been the other person in that movie, but it's decent, and it's not like super dramatic. It's not like it's clean. You know what I mean? You don't always see good clean movies these days.
It is a family spy show.
Maybe it's not everybody's family spy show, but it's just I thought it's good. It's good. It's worth a watch. But now, do you want to go to the theater and watch it? Maybe not, but it's not in the theater, so you're lucky. But it's definitely worth a watch.
It's funny. I watched a clip of her and Jamie Foxx on the Graham Norton show talking about they were doing the press tour.
Oh, good music. It has good music in it, Jay.
Okay.
You watch it for the music. If nothing, watch it for the music.
And she said that she had intended to retire. She was going for
Yeah.
10 years. She said, kids, family. She's decided, I'm done. I just want to have a family and ride off in the sunset. And she said, at 10 years, she thought, my kids are older now. okay, it started to kind of come back to her, and she said, okay, I'm only going to do it, but when I come back, I'm only it has to be the right project, the right people, and
Yeah.
yeah, she was glad she did it. She's like, you know,
She
she's like
looks
maybe I won't.
amazing.
She's like maybe I won't be on a full time schedule like I was before, but
Yeah.
I could see myself doing more. She said it surprised her that she did a 180 and said, okay, I want to come back again.
She
It
probably got the
said,
bug.
she said, I intended to retire for good.
Well, and I think about it. If when she went out, I don't know what her last movie was, but they probably did.
It had been over 10 years since the last one was out.
So they probably didn't have this Netflix streaming stuff. Then maybe that's a different type of filming. I don't know.
She said that she had been contacted so many times and like without hesitation every time said nope, 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 and just and then she said eventually they stopped asking, and then just one day she's like, huh, my family's in a different place now, and
Yeah.
it's like it started coming back, and she said I would have never thought that when I stepped away, but I think that's kind of cool to be like, okay, that part I did that part, the family part's kind of in a different place now, and I feel like I can start even if it's just part time, do one
Yeah.
project a year or whatever. That's
I think
cool.
it's worth a watch. I think it's worth a watch. I mean, my gosh, it's not winning an Academy Award, but it's definitely
So
worth a watch. It's cute. So I need to know, Jay. Inquiring minds want to know: were you okay? Did you survive the no movie theater Friday night?
I went.
You went. I knew you couldn't do it. I
I
knew you
went
couldn't do it.
and I watched. I
I
went
knew
to
it.
see one of them days. It's a comedy with Kiki Palmer. I probably shouldn't have gone. I laughed. One of the worst movies I've ever seen. I should have used my first instincts and not go. I was maybe there.
You almost stepped outside of your comfort zone.
I lasted maybe 30 minutes, and I said, I'll go home and watch something on streaming. I left the theater, and it's funny. One of the girls at the counter, she said, "Let me know how it is." So when I started walking out, she's like, "It's not over yet." I said, "It's not very good at all." She's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Nope."
Man, I would feel bad. I would have been chasing with a free ticket card.
So, but what I have been watching, I started watching last night on Peacock, is a show called The Traders, and there's a U.S. version and there's a U.K. version, and
Hmm.
as usual, it started in the U.K. and then now it's come to the
Hmm.
U.S. And it's kind of like the game Clue in a live action version with
Who done it?
reality TV stars and celebrities. It's like a competition show. Um, it's really
So
it's
it's a competition.
it's a it's
It's
a
a real
competition
competition.
show. These people show up. They're like a lot of them are reality TV stars. A couple of them are just
Yeah.
celebrities in some way. They show up, and the host, who is Alan Cumming, he determines there's three traders that, and he
Hmm.
determines it, and nobody knows who those traders are except for those three traders, and everyone else is called faithfuls, and they're trying to figure out who the traders are and kick them out of the game. Whoever makes it to the end wins $250,000. So there's 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 um there's competitions, and you can earn extra money to go towards the pot, and you can earn like immunity from voting off. They vote somebody to kick off, and well, they try to vote off who they think the traders are.
So it's
And
not like Clue where you're like the candlestick and the
but
line.
well, but the traders each week uh, choose one of the players to quote unquote murder and eliminate.
Hmm.
But they do it in a way, and then they're mingling with all the other players that don't know they're traders. So they're trying to stir up drama and point them in a different direction to not figure
Away
out
from
who's
them.
good. Yes, and also to
What do you guys know? You guys know as
yeah, the public knows
the
what's going on
public
the whole time.
knows.
So and they're also trying to like based on who they choose to murder. Like they'll see two people arguing in the house, so they'll pick one of them, so that the person they were arguing with will automatically be suspected as one of the traitors that murdered them.
So you're sitting there saying, no, no.
But there's people you start to root for, and then people you start to root
So,
against.
is it one episode? Is it one
It's a
game per
series. Well,
episode?
it's a series. This is season 3. I did not see the first 2 seasons.
Okay.
Again, I'm picking this up late.
And what's it
Season
called
3
again?
is called The Traders. But it's the U.S. version. It's on Peacock,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all you. I don't know that you would recognize a lot of the because it's like Big Brother people, The Bachelor
No,
people,
I wouldn't recognize them.
Survivor, but there are also some like there was a professional wrestler, Nikki. Well, it used to be Nikki Bella. It's Nikki Garcia now. She used to be a wrestler. She's on there. There's a guy who's in the royal family, like an extended member of the royal family,
Mm-hmm.
is on there. It's funny. Yeah, Zac Efron's brother, Dylan. I didn't know he had a brother. Looks just
So,
like him.
so this is full of the celebrity on not celebrity offspring.
Well, it's a reality competition show,
Yeah.
so they've taken people from other reality competition shows and kind of put them all in one big jumble and put them, in one place.
It's funny.
But I like the whole. Of course, we know who
Synthetic.
gets murdered, so you're not really figuring that part out. But it's I like, and Zac Efron's brother is super smart. He was the one. He's actually the one who, the first 2 episodes, they thought they found a traitor, and they said they sit around this round table and they write someone's name down, and whoever gets the most votes gets kicked off. But when you get kicked off, you have to let people know if you're a traitor or if you're faithful. And the first 2, people were swearing. The second episode, everybody voted for the same person. They just swore it was this one guy. They knew. They were all proud. It wasn't him. He wasn't a traitor at all. So they were
Wow.
like, what? But Zac Efron's brother Dylan kept saying, no, it's this other person. I'm telling you, but nobody, because of he's younger, so he didn't seem like, and he comes with that like stigma of Zac Efron's brother, so whatever. So they didn't listen to him. So this last episode, somebody else listened to him, and they all voted for the guy, as he's been saying all along, and he was a traitor. And they were all like, "Oh, we should have listened to you the whole time." So it's good. I like the drama of it because you know what's coming, and like they the one girl is trying. She's a traitor, and she's like crying. She's fake crying, but there's one girl. She's like, I don't believe her. I think she's a traitor, and she knows that the girl's onto her, so she's trying to like get her off her scent. Oh, it's kind of it's.
Wow.
Well, I'm totally hooked. I'm gonna go back. I've caught up on this season. I'm gonna go back and watch the first 2 seasons,
Interesting.
and yeah. So that's what I've been watching. So I was up till like 1 o'clock last night watching the first 4 episodes.
See, it's so addicting. Wait, so you're S3.
S3 E4 is the next one coming up.
Speak the language. Speak the right lingo.
So anyway, that's it for this week, guys. We appreciate you joining us for Easter Short Talk. We hope you join us next time. Take care, guys.